Here's how I use my Hobonichi Cousin as a functional planner to stay organized. If you're trying to figure out whether the Hobonichi Cousin is right for you, and if you're looking for ideas on how to make use of it, then keep watching, because in this video, I will talk you through firstly what I was looking for in terms of a planner to see if that aligns for you, to give you some ideas on how to analyze what your planner needs are, and then I will show you how I use my Hobonichi Cousin. I will show you the different pages in my Hobonichi Cousin, how I use the monthly spreads, how I use the weekly spreads, and how I use the daily spreads to give you some inspiration and ideas on how you can use yours. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Seppi and I share with you simple and practical tips to live a happier life, namely my journals and planners. So if you're new here, I do share a lot about my journals and planners, how it helps me stay organized, how it helps me stay on top of my goals, etc. And it just brings me a lot of joy. And if you're here, I'm assuming it is the same for you. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss is, before deciding what planner to even get, I did sit down to think through what my needs are for my journal and planner system. That way I was really intentional with the one that I got. I tried a range of different planners, from the Hemlock and Oak, the Passion Planner, the Hobonichi Weeks. I also tried generic planners from your typical stationery store, and the last 2 years I've been using the Hobonichi Cousin and I love it, and moving forward I am going to purchase another one as well. I have found a simple system that works for my needs, that works great in terms of staying organized, adding in a little bit of aesthetic planning, aesthetic and creative journaling, and I just overall love this system that I have created with my Hobonichi Cousin. This is one of my favorite items in my journal and planner system, so I hope that this can inspire you to give you some ideas as well. So these are the different things that I was looking for when it came to a planner. The first thing was the size. So in the past, I've had many different renditions of a planner, as I mentioned before, but the main two that I'm going to talk about are going to be the Passion Planner and the Hobonichi Week. So what I was looking for was a planner that wasn't too big, wasn't too small. Although I don't take my planner around with me, it basically stays at home on my desk most of the time. I still wanted enough space that I didn't feel cramped in it, but that I had enough space to write a detailed to-do list, to have space for brain dump, to have space that it doesn't just feel crammed. The way that I felt in my Hobonichi Weeks, although it's a beautiful product, as you can see here, I never actually ended up using it. I was adding a lot of stuff in these pages and it just felt really cramped, where it was even to the point where when I was writing, I had to write so small that it just felt really overwhelming and really cramped, and I just didn't like that. Then the other thing to factor in is that I didn't want something that was too big either, like the Passion Planner. Although again, it's a great product, it was just also way too big that it just felt like a little bit of a waste. I wasn't making use of all the pages. I have a more detailed review of all the planners that I've used in the past, including the Passion Planner and Hobonichi Week. So if you want to watch that, make sure to watch that next. Give you an idea and perspective on different planner options that you might have. But yes, in terms of the planner, I was looking for something not too big, not too small, just the perfect size to fit enough of my needs, and I do find that this is the perfect size. This is a B6 and this is a Hobonichi Cousin, and this, for size comparison, this is the A5. So it is an A5, I believe. So I do find that it is a great size and it fits my need. The second thing that I was looking for when it came to a planner was the quality. Because I use my planner every single day, it was really important for me to have something that could handle everything that I do with it, whether it comes to gel pens, whether it comes to highlighters, whether it comes to stickers and washi tape, whether it comes to handling fountain pens as well. So I really wanted something that was good quality as well, because it just elevates my experience. And like I said, I use this every single day, and I wanted something that was just good quality that I'm going to enjoy using, which the Hobonichi Cousin has met the mark on that as well, because having good quality binding, good quality paper elevates your experience and also makes it more likely that you will show up and use your planner every single day because you just enjoy using the planner itself. Next thing that I was looking for were page options. I personally like having a monthly overview to get an overview of the month ahead. I also like having a weekly overview to plan out my week when it comes to workouts, appointments, and everything else. And I also like having a daily spread. So I really wanted all three in one, and I find it really hard finding a good planner that included all of those and met everything else in terms of my needs. So this really met the mark again with a lot of the things that I was looking for. I do my monthly and weekly planning, and then every day I sit down and do my daily spreads to organize my day. I have more detailed videos on how I actually do my planning process, which my weekly planning takes less than 30 minutes, my daily planning less than 10 minutes. I have a really good system going, so if you want to watch those videos, there's a whole playlist on that as well. But yeah, the page options was really important, which moves into the next thing that was really important to me, was to have blank pages. Although I like having options in terms of like having checklists and whatnot, I still wanted a planner, that was blank enough for me to customize it to my needs. In the past, I've had planners that had different sections on the weekly and daily pages that, again, it's a nice thing to have, but for someone that has enough experience with planning, it wasn't really relevant or necessary to me, and it just felt like a bit of a waste. I like having pages that are blank enough that I can do with it what I want. So yes, it has the dates and the hours and the timetable and the weekly spreads and the daily spreads, but it gives enough versatility that I can just kind of play around with it. And yes, I have my own little system that I keep using over and over again, but I can change it up really easily, and I love that a lot. So now that I have an idea of the different things I was looking for when it comes to a planner, hopefully that makes you think about yourself. Let's talk through the actual Hobonichi Cousin and how I use the different spreads in it. So let's first talk about the year at a glance. So there's many different ways that you can use it. I decided to use my year at a glance for my habits tracker. I decided to consolidate my planner in terms of making it really functional. If you've watched my previous videos, then you know how I was thinking through my current planner system, and honestly, overall, I like it a lot. And this confirms that I like the idea that I had to use it for a habits tracker, because when I do my daily planning, I often, the night before, will sit down, check off everything from my to-do list, and start kind of thinking for the day after. And I also kind of check off my habits tracker at the same time. So it's just kind of an all-in-one. I can just pull out my Hobonichi Cousin and do everything that I need to be doing at the same time, get it done. So I really enjoy having the habits tracker in my Hobonichi Cousin. And at the end of every single month, I do a quick little self-reflection. What are the habits that I enjoy doing? What I think actually helped me? That way I know what habits to continue in the month ahead, and also kind of see how things are going. Now, just a little detail in terms of how I use the year at a glance for my habits tracker. I have my habits on top, and then every single day I check it off. And if I accomplish the habits, I do a little check mark. If I don't, I do a little cross. And if I was mindful of it but didn't actually achieve the goal, achieve the habit, or complete it, then I do a little dot. So what that tells me is that I was mindful and intentional with it. I didn't quite reach the goal, but this is a way for me to just be very intentional and make sure that I'm encouraging myself that, okay, you maybe didn't practice the habit, but you were mindful of it. Now, yes, August is completely blank and half of July is blank, is because I traveled a lot and I'm traveling again. So this is a little bit of a write-off, but overall throughout this year, I have really been able to mostly keep up with it. At the end of the month, it gets a little bit more tiring, but overall it has worked. The next things I'm going to talk about is going to be the monthly spread. So I like using the monthly spread. Again, this is a functional planner. So for me, it's to plan things out, scheduling and things that are already planned out, appointments, events that I'm going to, seeing when my payday is, that way I can plan when I'm going to pay different bills, any appointments, any time off. And I also like to decorate the pages in a very simple way, but very aesthetic, I find. Yes, it's quite simple compared to other pages or other Hobonichi Cousins that I've seen, which I absolutely love. But for me, I wanted my planner to be functional meets a little bit of aesthetic, and for me to decorate it very simply is what works for me and what helps me make it sustainable. If you want more tips on how to create aesthetic journal or planner pages in a very simple way, I do have another video that shares tips with you there. But that is my monthly overview. Again, simple, to the point, and then this helps me map out my weekly pages. So that's the next thing we're going to look at. So the weekly pages are, again, it's just to get an idea of the week ahead. So one thing that has helped me make my planning a lot more sustainable is using the same formula over and over again. So that comes when it comes to my daily pages and when it comes to my weekly pages. So my weekly pages, always a to-do list, always a space to add whatever I need to do, whether it's meals or whether it's additional things to think about. At the top, I schedule in my workouts and I track my steps. And then during the week, I just schedule in what is happening, if I'm going to the office one day. And then at the bottom, if there's anything that I know I need to get done that that specific day, then I write it out. So when I do my weekly planning, I sit down and I map out the week, and then I look at the monthly spread as well to see what's going on. That way I can adjust my appointments, my workouts, anything else in the week ahead to make sure I stay on top of it. And having the same formula over and over again, the way that I map out the weekly pages, really helps make it a lot easier to just show up and do it. And another tip is to actually prepare the pages 4 weeks ahead. I started doing that in March. As you can see, I kept the same theme, but I just prepared the pages ahead of time with the same kind of theme, the same layout, just to make it easier every single week to just sit down and add in my to-do list, map out the week, and that was it. That was all. That was also really helpful. And I think another thing that I'm going to be doing this year is to prepare my monthly pages as well. Even though they're very simple, still having them kind of set up with a little bit of decoration makes it easy at the beginning of the month when I'm doing my monthly planning to just plug and play whatever I need to in my monthly spreads as well. So that's a few little tips as well to make your planning a lot more simple, a lot more streamlined, and a lot more sustainable as well. As you can see here, the pages are very simple, very straightforward, but I still enjoy looking at them, and it doesn't feel overwhelming to come in and fill out the pages because I find that this is the perfect size for me. So those are the weekly pages, and then let's move on to the daily pages. So one thing that I changed this year is instead of having a separate brain dump journal, I decided this is going to be my functional planner as well as my brain dump journal, because in the past I've had it separate, and then I found that my Hobonichi Cousin wasn't being filled out because that's just how it is every single day. You know, there are days where I didn't actually use my planner, but I used it for brain dump. So this has been perfect for me. At the beginning of the month, I have a life admin page where I write down all the things that I need to get done in terms of life stuff. So booking your appointments, going to the doctor, finding a new massage therapist, whatever it might be. These are the life things that we often tend to procrastinate on and not do. And having it at the beginning of the month really helps me have a spot where I put everything down, and then I can keep track of what's being done, what's not being done, and moving it forward in the next month. So that's something I've really loved doing, and I will continue doing as well. Like I mentioned, there has been the brain dump as well, whether it's been different lists or packing lists and whatever else. Some days it was just journaling. And then in terms of my daily pages, I love the format that I've figured out using. I have my to-do list, a business to-do list because I have a full-time job at the government, and then I also have a business that I'm growing as well. So I have separate to-do lists for those things, and then a little reminder of the self-care habits that I want to be practicing every single day. It's kind of like a reminder of the habits that I have at the front, but maybe some things are a little bit more personal or a little bit more customized to that day if I feel like I have more specific needs. And at the bottom, I have a brain dump space in case I have ideas that come up. And then I split my days into 3 because I find sometimes looking at this to-do list feels overwhelming, and then splitting my day into 3 and just focusing on the next 3 tasks, getting them done, and then writing out 3 more tasks in the morning, afternoon, and evening really helps me compartmentalize my brain and not getting overwhelmed and just getting through the day a lot better. I still have to work on not putting as much on my to-do list as well, but that's okay, work in progress. But that's how I have been using the daily pages and then the brain dump as well. So I do brain dumps in terms of just ideas or things that I want to remember. This month I'm traveling again, so I also have a packing list for my next trip. I'm leaving in 2 days. I also need to revamp a little bit my health. So I have a brain dump of all the things I like to be doing, and then trying to eventually map out a little schedule and plan for my health. So it's a very functional planner, and then there's enough space for me to also add in other life things as well, which I love. And also, again, simple but aesthetic pages in my humble opinion. I know it's very simple, but I still enjoy looking at it. I think it looks nice and it doesn't feel as crowded and overwhelming. So those are how I use my daily pages. The next thing that I'll add is all the add-ons that I have in my planner that I think are worthwhile and really help make my experience a lot easier. Firstly, we have these brass tabs that I got from Midori. They're really thin so they don't bulk up the pages. They do come off quite easily, and sometimes when you flip the page, it'll get caught in it. So that's a little bit annoying, but overall I still like them. I have a tab for the monthly overview. I have a tab for my habits, and then I have a tab for the day of the week that we're in. And I have another one, a tab that doesn't stick out, but another simple tab that I have for the page, the daily page that we're currently at. So these tabs, the brass tabs, have been very helpful. And on top of that, the tabs for every single month this is from the Coffee Monsters Co. I also like it because it kind of, I can flip easily to the month and then find the page I've been using, or I can flip ahead to another month and it's right there. So I do find that these little tabs and these little things help as well. And finally, I also want to talk about the cover that I have in my planner. I got this on Etsy. It is a faux leather pouch cover, and I do find it looks quite aesthetic and beautiful, and I've had it for a year and I don't think it's tarnished or it doesn't really look that used, so I'm really happy with the quality of it. There's a little space at the front for some stickers and some post-its and some stamps and whatnot, and space at the back as well. So that's another thing that I think was worthwhile in terms of purchasing it, just to make my planner quite enjoyable. It's all about the experience and it's all about enjoying your stationery and how it adds to your life, and I find adding these things has helped a lot. If you want a more detailed review of all the pros and cons of the Hobonichi Cousin, to help you decide whether it's the right planner for you, I do have another video if you want to watch that. Otherwise, let me know if you have a Hobonichi Cousin, if you're using one, how you use it. I always like getting new ideas from you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you a lot of love. Bye for now.